Hello everyone, Renee here. I am showcasing some more of my Oracle card deck collection. And the first few decks I'm going to show you have the theme of astrology and or the moon. So the first deck I want to show you is called Wonderful Zodiac Fortune Telling Cards. Now this deck reminds me of the machine you could find in the arcades back in the 70s, 80s, maybe even the 60s, but I wasn't alive till the 70s, where you would put a penny or nickel or quarter in and you'd get your fortune. Your fortune would kind of pop out. And that's what they look like. They're kind of small. They have the zodiac signs here, the whole full circle of the zodiac on the backs. And then each card has a wish answer and 4 messages, as well as a lucky number and then a number there. As well as sometimes showing the sun, sometimes showing the moon. There's a card with the moon, 2 images of the moon. This deck is really fun. It has a vintage look. It has a vintage feel. As you can see, some of the cards are even a little bit off-white, like it's kind of an older deck. But this is a fun deck I use as kind of a clarifier card or the end of the reading card. This would be the last card that I pull, and I read off top message, or sometimes I'll read off one of the other messages, and then I have the people ask a yes or no question and they get the answer as well. So this is a really fun deck. Fun cards, small, fit right inside the palm of your hand, and that is called Wonderful Zodiac Fortune Telling Cards. Another deck that I love is called Moonology Oracle Cards by Yasmin Boland or by Nyx Rowan. And typical of Hay House, it comes with the booklet. And the cards are typical Hay House size. These are the backs with all phases of the moon. And it's what I call another learning deck, where you draw this card, New Moon in Leo, and the message is confidence is your key to success. So it tells you a little bit about what the placement of the moon in that sign means. And it's got very simple illustrations, very simple but succinct and relevant messages. And I have used this deck several times in my YouTube videos, as well as with clients and friends and myself. A new start is coming, which is something that happens every new moon, and that is the new moon card. A new start is coming. New moon in Libra, a new romantic cycle begins. So you do learn a little bit about moon placements and the moon phases with this fun Oracle card deck. And again, that is Moonology Oracle Cards. A really gorgeous deck that I own is called Astrological Oracle Cards, and it's by Linnea Weatherstone and artwork by Antonella Castelli. Comes in a hard box. There are only 22 cards in this deck. They are gilded in silver, and they're broken up into the planets and the zodiac signs. It comes with a booklet. It's pretty thick, but it's in several different languages, so the English part is at the very front. It does tell you a little bit about the zodiac signs. It tells you a little bit about each planet and the houses. And so how you do a reading with this deck is you shuffle and draw a planet card. Let's say we have Saturnus or Saturn, and you shuffle and draw a zodiac sign. So this would be Saturn in Scorpio. Beautiful images, obviously, gorgeous artwork. And you would look in the booklet at Saturnus in Scorpio. Let's see if I can find it here. Tell you what it means. There it is, Saturnus in Scorpio. Surrender to transformation and rebirth. So that's the meaning. That's all you do with this deck, and it is another learning deck. So you're learning a little bit about the placements of the planets in the signs. Fun deck. Beautiful images. Small deck, but useful and a learning tool, and that is Astrological Oracle cards. My favorite astrology deck is Karma Cards by Monty Farber. It comes in this great box, just opens like a book. Comes with a great book here that tells you, again, about how to use the cards, about the signs of the Zodiac, and also about the houses. So it's a learning tool. And how you use this deck is it's separated into planets, signs, and houses. So you shuffle the cards, you draw one card from each. We've got the planet of the moon, we've got the sign of Pisces, so the moon in Pisces in the 4th house. And then all you do, you can either match the colors, like the purple or blue or the red here, or you can just read them as they are. I'll match the colors for this example. So this is moon in Pisces in the 4th house. And the messages here are the nurturing of spirituality to ultimately experience what makes you feel secure is the first message. The second message is feelings caused by trusting your psychic knowledge of support. And the third message is reactions resulting from the indecision of or about your home base or family. This is my favorite astrology deck. I've learned a lot from this deck, and I do highly recommend this deck. It's got a flip side for each card, so there's hundreds of ways, maybe thousands of ways you can read the cards, shuffling them, mixing them up. And it proves to be a very in-depth reading. And like I said, it's a learning tool. You do learn a lot about astrology. And those are Karma Cards by Monty Farber. Another great astrology deck is Black Moon Astrology Cards by Susan Shepard. Big box. These are bigger cards. They are a little bit larger than the 80 or 85 by 120. You can shuffle them easily like this, I would say, or just going like this. And they have beautiful images. Everything's numbered. All the signs here. There is a brief meaning on the card, so you don't really have to look into the book, but you should, because you definitely get more in-depth meanings in the book. I love the colors. I love the feel of the cards. They're really nice. The book gives you different spreads to do. And also, each card includes a quote, a long meaning, the card in brief, the corresponding tarot card, and the key ideas of the card. That is for every single card in the deck. So I do recommend looking in the booklet when you draw some cards. Another great learning tool if you're learning more about astrology. Also great for readings. That is Black Moon Astrology Cards. Another fun astrology deck are the Astrology Reading Cards by Allison Chester Lambert, illustrations by Richard Crooks, and it comes in a hard box that has a magnetized closure on the side. The cards are larger. They're not very thick though, they're actually quite easy to shuffle, but they are separated into the 3 categories of the planets, the signs, and the houses. So you could draw one card from each. So we have Vesta and Virgo in the 6th house, and with this deck, Each card has a meaning written on it. The goddess within, your sacred spiritual center and quiet dignity. So you could just pull one card and read the meaning. You can pull 3 and read all 3 meanings. And the booklet really is beautiful. It's got colored illustrations and tells you in depth about each card. So you could just pull one card if you wanted to, or you could pull the 3, one from each category, and get a pretty in-depth reading. So this is another fun astrology deck, and that is astrology reading cards. I thought I would lump this one in with the astrology cards. It's Numerology Guidance Cards by Michelle Buchanan. And typical of Hay House, it's got the booklet, which goes in depth into each card's meaning, and each card has an affirmation as well. And nice size, typical Hay House size, typical thickness. Each card has a number, a color, and a keyword. Some are upside down apparently, or key phrase, keyword or key phrase. So with this deck, you do learn a little bit about numerology. I love all the colors, and I do know a bit about numerology, and this deck is simple, yet very useful and a lot of fun. And that is the Numerology Guidance Cards. Now we're getting into my goddess-themed decks. But a good crossover would be this one, Wisdom of the House of Night. Night, the moon, etc. This deck is actually almost like a fantasy deck that tells a little bit of a story because it's about the goddess of the night, Nyx, N-Y-X. It's by PC Cast and Colette Baron Reed. I believe this is one of her first decks. Hay House comes with a typical booklet, which gives you a little bit of a meaning, a little bit of a story for each card, and you read it as though the goddess Nyx is talking directly to you. So here are the cards. I like how they have sharp corners. That's a nice change from most decks. They are silver gilded. They do have beautiful imagery and a one-word meaning per each card. So they're good to use as a clarifier or an extra little message. You don't really have to go to the booklet. If you're doing a reading that's about what do you need to focus on for the week, etc. We have letting go, belonging, fragment, rigid, etc. Look at that. And there's a high priestess of air, water, earth, and fire. All very beautiful imagery. Again, I like how the corners are sharp. It's a nice change from the typical Hay House decks. They're all kind of rounded off usually. And it is gilded. It's a little bit of an older deck. And that is Wisdom of the House of Night Oracle cards. Well, of course, I have to talk about my deck, Color Goddess Casting Cards. Comes in the hard box. Easy to open. The cards are full color. They're actually a great size, perfect size. I feel they're perfect size. They're gilded with silver. Each card has a goddess, a color, keywords, a door, symbols, a crystal, and a flower. So I'll show you just a few of these. I'm happy to announce that I have gotten all 4- and 5-star reviews for my deck on Etsy. No one has complained yet, so I am very, very proud and very happy about that. I wrote the booklet, designed all the imagery, did it all myself. We're going to shuffle and draw a card, and I'll read from the booklet. So let's see what we get. Sage. Of course we have Sage. So let me set Sage down. Booklet, very simple. Introduction, a few pretty simple spreads, and then the cards. They're all alphabetized. We'll go to Sage. And you can see on the left, affiliated crystal, nephrite jade, affiliated flower sage. Keywords are alchemy, solutions, wisdom. Specific meanings, ask advice from a wise elder or professional. Someone needs your guidance, there is a solution, and you have the ability to find it. So each card has all of that on the left side, and then a more detailed description on the right. Sage goddess is the grand witch, the warlock, the wizard, the sage, wise and admired. She can shape-shift into the form of a moth, fluttering unnoticed, gathering information and insights from all areas and all dimensions, etc. What does this card mean to you? Take a look at all of the images. If you trust your own inner wisdom, what messages do you receive? Perhaps you can find the solution here, or maybe you will seek advice from one who is more wise. Either way, you have the ability to get to the bottom of it, to find the solution, and if you are still unsure as to what to do next, draw another card. And we have lavender coming up next, which is all about compassion, empathy, and sensitivity. Of course, I love my deck. It's really sleek, easy to shuffle, very well-made cards, and that is Color Goddess Casting Cards, written and illustrated by Renee A. Birch. Now, I was a big fan of Emily Ballavey's artwork years ago when I saw her artwork on Etsy before she created this oracle card deck. And I thought to myself at the time, wow, she should create an oracle card deck, and she did. And it's called Mystic Sisters Oracle Deck. Hard box. Kind of a matte finish. It comes with a booklet. Thin but succinct and to the point. Keywords for each card and a brief meaning of the cards. And wait till you see these cards. Okay, here's the backs. Detailed, earthy, pretty. Here are the cards. I am obsessed with her artwork. There's Thea. I don't want to show you all of them. I don't want to spoil it if you end up getting the deck. Bee Goddess, Eris, Red Queen, Raven Goddess. It's just full of beautiful goddesses and goddess-based messages. Bridget, Snow Queen. They're all matte, full color. That's one of my favorites, Bast. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. One of my favorite decks, one of my most beautiful decks. Shuffles easily. It's a good size, not too big. That is Mystic Sisters Oracle Deck by Emily Ballavey. One of my favorite goddess decks is Goddess Guidance Oracle Cards by Doreen Virtue, who has now retired from doing these oracle cards, oracle card decks. I got this 2006 maybe, long time ago. It's one of my first oracle card decks in general. Fell in love with it. Hay House comes with the typical Hay House booklet that gives you a message from the goddess, various meanings of the card, and about the goddess. So you are learning about the goddesses and getting a message. It is gilded with gold color. Here are the backs. And there are various artists who did the artwork for this deck, but it's gorgeous. It's colorful, it's diverse. Each card has the goddess's title or name, what she's affiliated with, and then a message here. White Terra, sensitivity. You are becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. and so on and so forth. There's Aphrodite. We have Rhiannon. Pretty much all of the major goddesses are in here, as well as some lesser known goddesses. Like Arikura, Athena, of course, we've all heard of her. Pele, Bridget, Sarasvati, Vesta, Guinevere, Hathor, Mott, Kali. Beautiful deck. Good size, typical Hay House size. Easy to shuffle. Again, gilded in gold. I think it's probably out of print, but maybe you can find it or find a copy. It's Goddess Guidance Oracle Cards by Doreen Virtue. Another beautiful goddess deck is Goddess Power Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, with her artists of choice, of course, Jenna Della Grataglia. I love her artwork. I love Colette's oracle cards, oracle decks. Comes with a book that tells you a little bit about each goddess. You have an empowerment message as well as an alignment message. So for this deck, you can read reversals. The cards are matte, simple backs, not gilded. Beautiful imagery, no borders, which we love. There are numbers on the cards to make it easier to find them in the book. The goddess's name or title, and then the key message or what she's representing. So Skuld, the future, Lightsea, revelation, Morrigan, death and magic, Yi, the sun, Parvati, devotion, Iris, communication, etc. Beautiful imagery, quite diverse, I would say. Easy to use. You can look in the booklet if you want to, but if you're doing a quick read and you just want to see what goddess energy is around you, you can just shuffle and pull one and get an idea. Hera and Alliance. That is Goddess Power Oracle by Colette Baron Reed.